Hi everyone. So I haven't gotten much into anthroposophy in a while. Um, so I've been getting into some other things. But I think with this new Doctor Doom or Doomsday Avengers movie coming out, I want to mention some things about anthroposophy again. Previously, as a little bit of a recap, I mentioned that anthroposophy, I notice, has a lot of media, like whether it's some of the popular ones that I have seen was like Dragon Ball Z, um, the Christian Bale Batman movie, the trilogy, but particularly also the Avengers, even some video games, some trilogies like Ninja Gaiden, so forth. I see a lot of narratives reflecting um, anthroposophy in a lot of ways. And how I see this is that, well, let's just stick to the Avengers for now. Um, the first movie with Loki, I find, is reflective of the Luciferian impulse. The second one with Ultron reflects a lot with the Aramonic impulse. And then the third villain with Thanos reflects a lot with the Christ impulse. And just as a little bit of a reflection of like Dragon Ball Z, Frieza's saga reflects a lot with Christ. The Cell saga reflects a lot Aramonic. And the Boo saga reflects a lot with Lucifer. And for those who don't know, or those that may seem like, I know the terms are a little bit heavy because of the associations behind it, but it's I really enjoy the functioning of what they're talking about, which is like Aramonic is the materialization of the spirit. And in its extreme, it's too much, right? We lose meaning, right? It's very systematic, calculated, and too much of those things become redundant and we lose spiritual connection. On the other end, we have the Luciferic, which is the spiritualization of matter. And too much of that is, freedom. It becomes chaotic and it loses moral ground. And in between, when we have a balance between those two, we have the Christ impulse, which is evolutionary. When we balance out our systematic life with the spiritual freedom aspects, in this 3D reality, we evolve. And that also then implies that there's the opposite of evolution, which is de-evolution, which, if Christ is the evolutionary path, Antichrist is the de-evolutionary path. And that's kind of what I want to get into, is where I'm seeing this new Avengers movie. See, like, I really enjoyed Dragon Ball Daima because it really tackles and wrestles the concept and the symbolism of the de-evolutionary path and how we overcome that. And say, for example, where these things actually apply in our life, the de-evolution is where, as we get older, we start to wrestle old age or entropy, where the things that we've built up in our life and we work for starts to decay, or we lose those things. We lose our strength. We lose certain means, and they have certain adaptations, right, to overcome that. There's certain points in your life where you give the things that you have away, or you do certain things to work with those stages of our life. But I digress with that. With this, I haven't seen a lot of shows really tackle the de-evolutionary impulse. And given the three main villains of the Avengers, I think this last two-part, or I think it's two-part, it might be one movie, is really going to wrestle and take on the de-evolutionary impulse. which might be pretty exciting. One of the reasons that kind of makes me think this is that they're using Iron Man, who at the end of the Infinity War sacrifices himself for the greater good, as the same. Well, Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doctor Doom, and we don't really know if there's any correlation with Iron Man, but throughout a lot of Marvel movies, when they use the same actor, it kind of has some correlation, and I like to believe that they're doing this to have that reference, that the person who self-sacrificed, now they're going to use as the de-evolutionary impulse and wrestle with that type of narrative. So that's one indication, and being that it's a big war and they're incorporating everything from Marvel kind of had beforehand, and it's going to lead into this big reset, so to speak. It seems as though that this is going to be the narrative of the. And again, I'm not saying that any of this is actually intentional, like that this is what Marvel or these, the creators or writers of these other shows are intentionally doing. But it just seems to be a very popular narrative that people are drawn to, and also people seem to write about, referencing Anthroposophy, founded in the early 1920s. So I'm pretty excited to see how this might come out. It might not be anything like it. It might be a very different movie altogether. But I think there's going to be a correlation between Iron Man and Doctor Doom, to be a direct representation of the de-evolutionary, where Iron Man reflects the evolutionary path of Christ in the last movie, overcoming Thanos. This one, now he's Doctor Doom, being the villain, is going to reflect the de-evolutionary path and set up a whole reset. I'm not sure what they're going to do after. I'm actually really excited because that would tackle everything. Maybe they'll just do the stories again, or maybe something new. And I'm really curious. I know Tom Holland had already signed up for like a bunch of more Spider-Man movies, so it's not like they don't have plans already for new movies to come. So that's pretty much what I have for today. I'm excited to see how this comes out. Could again be anything, could be a whole different type of story, but from what I've been seeing thus far, I really think that it's going to take on the de-evolutionary narrative, and that would be the final fourth impulse from the anthroposophic or anthroposophy perspective or lens. And again, I haven't really wrote about this or talked about this. Maybe in about a year, I started talking about this. So with everything else that's coming up, I'm excited to see how this unfolds. Thank you for if you're still here and entertaining this. Till next time.